We're now reopening the November 16, 2016 City Council meeting. City Attorney, any reportable action?
Yes, the City Council discussed the matters listed on the closed session agenda, performance evaluations of the City Attorney and City Manager, and there's no reportable action.
And what we'll be doing, Andy, is we'll be moving them forward to continue them. Okay? Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor? Pastor Daniel?
Let's pray. Father, I thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather today. We thank you that you have given us the opportunity. We thank you for our nation here in the United States, upon which your goodness and your mercies have followed us as a nation, as a state, and also as a city. Praying today that you are going to help our leaders here as they gather to liberate the liberations of this city. We pray today, the Lord, you are going to grant our leaders the wisdom that you govern this city for your own glory. We pray that your mighty hand is going to be upon our city here, and your blessings to cover our city just as the waters cover the sea. We pray for peace and tranquility to prevail in each and every step that this city and the leaders take for your glory. We thank you for the deliberations of tonight, praying that every decision that will be arrived will be for the glory of God and to help this city and get into greater heights of developments for your glory. We thank you. We bless the name of the Lord. For it is in Jesus' name that we pray. Let's say amen together. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. You know, when you talk, the floor rumbles. Keep thinking it's an earthquake and we're going to have to open the emergency center real quick. Moving on to a presentation. Julie, are you going to come on up on this? This is for the Waste Management Recycling All-Stars, and I'm going to come up there and support you.
Does this move? I don't want to. Is that good? I don't want to break it. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Julie Reyes with Waste Management, and we developed a program several years ago called Recycling All-Stars. And what I love about this program is it's not someone that I select, it's not our staff, it's our drivers. So we ask our drivers to select one resident and one business that they feel has done a great job at being a celebrity all-star when it comes to recycling. They put out the recycling every week. The recyclables are clean. None of their containers are contaminated. And so we are proud this evening, and we hope that they were able to attend. So the first recipient, we have a Waste Management duffel bag filled with some goodies and a certificate for the Sorrell family. Oh, good. She's here. Yay. Mayor, you have a certificate
So
also?
we have a certificate for you to the Sorrell family on Shawnee Drive for being a 2016 Recycling All-Star. Congratulations. Wow. Can we get a picture of this? Somebody got a camera?
Or I can have, you know
great.
what?
Send them to us.
Let's see, let's come over here a little bit so we take a nicer picture, and then I'll text it.
Yeah, and do you have anything you want to say about it?
It's so exciting. I know.
Oh, it is exciting.
My family was...
So you're a recycling guru and a recycling family. I want to hear about this. Just so you know, when people recycle and when people do proper things with their trash, Norco saves money.
Yes, you do.
Big time.
And you meet
So-
state diversion goals.
And we meet state diversion goals. So it's very important what you're doing.
I really didn't think that I was the greatest recycler, but I don't mix my trash, so that's a good thing. And really, my parents made us put everything in the proper containers when I was younger, and so I make my kids do it, and it's just been a family tradition, and I know it's important for the environment and for our city, and so I'm glad to do it, and I'm happy to be here at a council meeting and pass it on.
Great. Is that your husband back there?
Yes.
Well, congratulations,
And I know it's sometimes difficult for our business community, and so I want to recognize them even though I'm not sure they were able to attend, but In-N-Out Burger was our commercial business that was selected for the recycling. Was anyone here from In-N-Out? Okay, let's acknowledge them, and if you'd like, we'll hand deliver this, and I'll
Let's go
take
for
yours.
free French fries. No.
Right? Anyway, so we appreciate the opportunity to come here. It's fun. We love this.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Julie. So now moving to, oh, this is cool. I'm going to bring Scott up right now. Silver Lakes Equestrian and Sports Center. I'd like to bring up Mr. R.J. Brandis, the CEO, Vicki Ross, the CFO and COO, Kathy Azevedo, Community Development, Equestrian Coordinator, Josh Hodges, Director of Sports, Jim Trujillo, Facility Director, Bart Marino, Sports Manager, and Veronica Holder, Administrative Assistant. If you would all come up here, we want to thank you.
Want to line them up right?
Take it away, Scott.
In here. So very weird. And why don't I have you right here, RJ? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott DeRosa, and I'm the Vice Chair of Norco's Economic Development and Advisory Committee, also known as EDAC. Your City Council thought it would be a great and wonderful idea to be acknowledging the local businesses for their civic contributions that have been enjoyed by the City of Norco citizens. EDAC has stepped in, and each month we select a local business that has stood out to us as a business that we'd like to see acknowledged for their civic contributions, which includes, but are not limited to, donations, sponsoring events, and increasing the economic well-being of our fine city. So tonight, it's my honor and pleasure to present Norco's Business Appreciation Award to Silver Lakes. RJ, let me go ahead and read what the certificate says. The City of Norco hereby honors Silver Lakes for its ambitious vision as an internationally recognized, state-of-the-art venue for equestrian, soccer, and field sport competitions, as well as festivals and special events. In its first year, Silver Lakes drew more than 850,000 visitors to Norco, supporting local businesses and enhancing Horsetown, USA as a regional destination place. RJ, thank you so much for Silver Lakes and all that you've done.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for the award. I've been here a few times, obviously, but I really wanted you to see that we have a real serious team. The people behind me are the people who make this happen. And the last year was just the beginning. I think that this year in 2017, we will see enormous growth out at Silver Lakes. We're still under construction. We're finishing up phase 1 right now. Sometime in late May, we'll have the last part of phase 1 done, which is basically the restaurant, which we call the Field House. We have a soft opening with a big event on Thanksgiving weekend. Silver Lakes will host its first event in its own name. It's a national event, and there are about 200 college coaches which will attend, which is a large number. It's an invitational event for about 150 teams, girls teams, and we are really raising the standards in the sport. We're doing an event that has never been done before. We're doing a party after it. We brought in a TV screen, which is 36 by 10 feet. We have tents on the property, because this is the beginning of what we think is our national presence. KTLA will be out there on a Friday night. This is an important event for Norco. It's an important event for Silver Lakes. It's an important event for Southern California, and it's a national event for soccer. So this is the beginning. And there's a lot more to come. I want to thank the city. I want to thank the council and the staff, because they're the people who really helped make Silver Lakes what it is today. It's been a great team effort. It's proof that a public-private partnership really does work. And I think I've heard that this last tax period was one of your best tax periods. And I think that's part of what our responsibility has been to the city, which is to bring more revenue, more recognition, so that we can help maintain your rural way of life. So thank you for all of your support, and thanks for the citizens of this town believing in us. Thank you.
Does the council have anything to say? Anybody want to jump in? No? I'm going to jump in. So Silver Lakes is something that I've worked on for a long time, and I just want to congratulate RJ and your crew on the thousands of kids that aren't in the back of patrol cars, that are doing something healthy, and they're having a great time. And last weekend, 2 weekends ago, you had cowboy hats out there on horses, right? Yep. Which I really loved. And but the best part of all of this is that, I own a small business, and there was a restaurant in town, which will remain nameless, that was close to going under. And when I first talked to them about Silver Lakes, it wasn't up and running, and they said, "Well, it's really not going to help us. They were pretty down, and they were close to closing their doors." And I went and ate there a week ago, and they said basically they had no idea the impact it would have on their restaurant, and it saved them. So just so you know, the economic impact is incredible, and I want to thank you for choosing Norco to come here. It's great. Absolutely. Go on up and speak about your situation. This is really weird.
This is so weird. First off, I feel like I need to face the council, because that's typically what we're supposed to do when we're at the podium. So I guess I'll stand sideways. Actually, just a few months ago, the first year has been just so much just getting up and running. And, I think about, even Ingalls wasn't built overnight. How many years did we have no covers and all those things? And now look at the amazing Ingalls. And so we're trucking along, trying to do the best we can at Silver Lakes. And a few months ago, RJ said he wanted to put me as the equestrian coordinator. And it's just been so fun. We had, 2 weekends ago, we had reining. We had a buckle series, so they all got buckles, the champions. We had dressage. We tried to squeeze in a rescue, but they just wasn't enough time, so they'll be coming in the spring, where we'll be having adoptions from Mustangs will be held out there. This coming December 3rd and 4th, we're having the Hunter Jumper Show will be out there. And then in January, we're going to have, first time really in this area, we're going to have a ranch riding competition. AQHA has been really into that's kind of a cross. It's kind of a new kind of a show where it's kind of a cross between reining and equestrian. So we're going to have, I just talked to RJ about it tonight. We're going to have very soon, I'm hoping for the second week in January, where we're going to have breakfast at Silver Lakes, because we have amazing food there, and then the arenas will all be open for after breakfast, where everybody can just come and ride and try our amazing footings. Part of my team is Jim. He's in charge of the arenas for us, and we like to say that RJ bought us toys. RJ bought Jim and I toys. Just in the last month, we received on the property a state-of-the-art tractor, a Kaiser drag, and a state-of-the-art water truck. And so many of you know this name that I have to tell you that we wanted to find somebody that really knew a lot about footings. So who we brought on to help us is Ed Dixon. So it's just more Norco folks are out there helping us make the equestrian component a reality. So if anybody has ideas on what you'd like to bring out there, I'm all ears, and let's make this equestrian part of Silver Lakes what it was always meant to be. Thanks for the opportunity.
People's faces.
Got everybody, I'll get everybody. 1, 2, 3. Homage. Okay.
Moving on to City Council communications, reports on regional. Now, wait a minute. We have. When were you doing the presentation? That's later. Never mind. City Council communications, reports on regional boards and commissions. Okay. Berwin.
Actually, I have nothing to report because I have the meetings tomorrow for RTA and Vector. Thank you.
Robin?
Since the last council meeting, I was able to attend the Veterans Memorial Service. Amazing job by the committee, and thank you for your work on that. I was also able to attend Kathy Scortino, retired from the CNUSD School Board after 21 years of service. So I was able to go to that very nice ceremony last night. Last week, at the end of the week, I went to, with Ted and Kevin, the Tech Rodeo presented by the City of Corona, completely over my head, horribly over my head, sharing about how our government agencies and federal agencies develop all this technology and then how they want to get it out to the private sector for them to make money on it because they can't, being federally funded. But a really cool fun fact, if you want to look it up, the mantis shrimp has this big claw that is incredibly powerful and breaks open clams and stuff, and its claw moves so fast that the water actually boils around the claw when it moves. So that was my takeaway from the technology rodeo the other day. But they're developing this protective shield based on the architectural structure of this shrimp's claw thing. You can look it up on YouTube. So, and then tomorrow night I will be attending the Red Ribbon Week Awards ceremony. Remember from the last meeting, students could present media, posters, all those things to try and encourage people to be drug-free. And so the big awards ceremony for the school district is tomorrow evening.
Ted?
Follow the LAFCO meeting, and nothing unusual to report there. Nothing of our interest in our area. And thank you, Robin, for the Veterans Day thing. I know members of the committee are out here that did the executive committee and those that helped, along with Frank, let the Park and Rec staff know. Great job, everybody that, Andy, your staff, everybody that helped. The 300 plus people there, through all the veterans that showed up there. Very honored to be part of it, and very honored that here in our own city, Colonel Farmer, who's, and his wife Jewel, both active Air Force Reserve officers that live here in town, and also give back not only to the community and what they do, but even part of our military. So big kudos. We had an excellent crowd, and I know she's not here, but Kevin, you would bring Mr. Hillary back anytime. He was great. The World War II veteran, Korean War veteran. They gave our benediction, and wonderful man in his 90s. And like Robin, I attended the rodeo technology program. I thought, that TV show where the four guys, the smart guys, these guys are way over my head. And so, but I appreciate what they do. I had, when I remember growing up here as a kid and hearing the guys that other friends of mine, their dad worked at the naval base and they worked at FIMSAG and all these things. They were doing all this weird stuff. These guys are still doing it today and coming up with. They're leading our industry, so it's just amazing that we, in our little small area over here on the Navy base, and then other places in the Corona Norco area, we have these research areas, and we have people from outside of our area coming in and investing in money or investing in their time to look and see what they're doing. So, and then the UCR group was, like I said, I was impressed. I'm way over my head, but I was impressed. Thank you.
Greg.
Good evening. You guys are going to love this story. So,
Does that have to do with the cuts?
I can tell you that story too. On November 3rd, we had the Chino Basin Desalter Authority board meeting. We had one item on that, and it was back to the Santa Ana River boring. And I swear, the more I learn, the less I know. That we went ahead and approved an engineering and design contract for $502,000 to redesign or design a new method of horizontal boring under the river. Now I brought up at the meeting about, we had proposed an option at one time for them to hang the water lines under the bridge. And Western Municipal doesn't like that deal. So what we're gonna do is spend this $500,000 on design. It's gonna take 5 months for the design. They're going to attempt to bore a test boring, and I see Chad smiling on this, that 40 feet now below the bottom of the river. And if that's successful, their design proposal is going to be like a parabolic boring, which I'm not familiar with, other than it goes down and comes back up and goes back down again. And this will be completely funded by Western Municipal Water District, but it's hard for me to believe that those costs, even though they're going to bear those costs, don't filter back down to us for purchase water and why our water rates tend to go up. That cost has to go somewhere. So hopefully we'll know something in the next 5 months if that plan's going to work. And as a sidebar, they are still considering possibly doing some type of dewatering and going down 25 feet to still try to recover that micro tunneler that is still buried underneath the river bottom. That's my report. Don't ask me how I voted on that. Okay.
So I went to WRCOG, and one of the things that's going on is that the contractor that does the HERO program is actually being sued. So there's stuff going on there. RCA, whole bunch of closed session stuff there. Veterans Day was really great. Robin, thank you for the flowers. What was really nice about Veterans Day for me is that this year there was a regime change and Ted took over. And it was really nice. We had a bunch of new people that really put that together and were able to help Jeff. And I just really got to kind of sit back and almost not do anything. I did a few things here and there, but it was really neat to see people just picking that up. And thank you to the staff. They're just phenomenal. December 7th, we have our Pearl Harbor. It's a 75th anniversary. I hope to see you all out there. And then we're in the planning stages right now for 2 upcoming film festivals. March 24th at Norco High School, we're going to be having a veterans gathering with the students, and then the next day we're going to be focusing on Vietnam. We'll show 2 Vietnam films, and then we're going to have a forum with Vietnam veterans. The title of that is Remembering Vietnam, Honoring Our Heroes, and then we already are beginning for the 50th anniversary of Norco High School, finding films and stuff that people from that school did and then interviewing them, so if you know some people. And then I guess we haven't really announced it yet, but so I'll leave the SHPO thing off. We kind of had a win with the Navy, which I was really proud of. The Navy wrote a letter to the State Historic Preservation Officer, and they have to replace some roofs because of leaks, and they're going to replace them as they historically should be replaced. And so it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know what happened, but I was really pleased to hear that. And that's all I have. So moving on to the City Council consent calendar. Anybody wishing to pull something?
I pull C, Mayor.
Okay.
You gotta look at the minute, John. I'm sorry.
Move to approve the remainder.
I was also going to pull that one too. Second, sorry.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Hannah and a second from Mayor Bash to approve the remaining consent calendars, which would be item 2A. Roll call, Mayor Bash.
2A and 2B.
Oh, and
we
2B,
pulled
I'm sorry.
2C.
Yes,
Remember,
2A,
we had the
2B.
one that came in late.
Correct. Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Councilmember Grunmeyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Hannah.
Yes.
Councilmember Huffman.
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion passed 5-0.
Ted?
Specifically on item 3, I have 2 that I'd like to see, and that would be 3A on the conditional use permit, 2016-31. And this is, there's something in the recommendation that was used by planning that on the lot coverage, they're talking about a 30% lot coverage. I don't think we changed our municipal code yet. We're still at 40%. So I'd like to have that agendized for next council meeting so we can discuss that.
Discuss that issue?
Yeah, it's part of a...
I mean, it sounds like what you want to do is appeal the condition.
Yes, appeal that condition, yes.
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you. So we are appealing item 3A.
3A.
3C.
No, 3A.
Oh, that's right. That got flipped over. Yeah.
3A from the Planning Commission recap agenda. And I have a motion from Councilmember Hoffman and a second by Mayor Bash. Roll call. Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Council members Grunmeyer, Hannah, and Hoffman, and Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Item 3A is pulled for appeal.
And you had a second item?
And yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, on reference item F on that same 3F, the zone change amendment, right now it says like recommending to go back to the Planning Commission for a zone change on the second units. I'd like to see that go to our new ad hoc committee on accessory building dwellings and units.
Is that a
For
motion?
further discussion, yes, make a motion, that's where it
Second.
goes first.
Under discussion.
Yes.
the recommendation is to be scheduled for a public hearing for council, not to go back to planning? I think you said planning.
No, I'd want to go to the ad hoc accessory building committee or structure, maybe a committee first, then go back to planning. I just want to think that because of the complexities of that zone change, of the new laws, that I'd rather see it go through a discussion with the city manager and the city attorney there first prior to sending it to planning. Prior to going to city council, prior to coming to the planning, and prior to going to city council, yes.
Yeah, with the expectation is that probably as a big ball of wax, it'll all go back to the planning commission.
Would it not be, or could it be appropriate to go send it back to planning first, directing them to further dissect this, and then?
There is, and the reason I bring this up, this original law on these secondary units was done in 2003. I had some issues with how it was applied at that time by the city, and now that it's changed and was just changed in September 2016, effective in January of 2017, I think before we complicate the issues, we need to straighten out the issues from the 2003 application so we can correctly, and based upon what I have read, go through this and discuss it rather than trying to do it in a planning commission meeting where I think you don't have the flexibility to do the discussion. Yeah. I think at an ad hoc, the ad hoc committee meeting with the two council members present, the planning commission meeting there, the planning commission members there, plus the city attorney and the planning director, I think we can go through the differences that I have, especially with this code and the way it's written. And this is going to affect us. We need to address it properly.
Yeah. And I agree. I think it's probably more unusual, but probably more appropriate to go back to the ad hoc committee, and because at least it's likely that there will be some modification, not only to this, but it'll be incorporated in the the non-dwelling unit accessory buildings.
As long as the direction then afterwards is to go back to planning for further discussion. Then,
do you want to include that in the motion, Ted, or is it implied?
Is it implied that any discussion in my motion, it goes to the ad hoc committee?
I believe yes. From the ad hoc, it would go to
prior to going to planning, and then after planning to the council. Is that good? Okay.
The proper steps. Yes. Okay, so I do have a motion from
Andy.
Just want to understand whether this issue dealing with accessory dwelling units will be addressed separately and reported separately from the ad hoc committee versus the other issues dealing with the accessory non-dwelling structures.
I think to some extent the answer to the question is that it depends on what comes out of the ad hoc committee discussion. So maybe yes, maybe no.
Okay, the reason I'm asking that question is to clarify. I don't know that the intent of the original ad hoc committee report regarding accessory non-dwelling units is to go back to the planning commission before coming back to the city council.
And maybe the solution is to have the ad hoc committee, without asking the council to make a decision, make a report concerning what their recommendations are, and then after the report, send it back to the planning commission. That makes sense?
If I can, my original intention for doing all of this, even the non-dwelling accessory units, is to make sure it goes to planning commission prior to both of the issues, go to planning before it comes to council, so that the more input we get from our commissioners on this, I think the better off we're going to be, and so in perpetuity, it's a better law. That's my feeling on it.
Okay, sure. I just want to make that understanding.
Sure.
What I'm thinking is that do we have apples and oranges here? Are there, is that what you're asking, Andy, in a way? It's two different topics. It may fall under the word accessory, but one's accessory buildings, the other is accessory dwellings. And I mean, I don't care if it comes to the ad hoc committee, but I think, Andy, are you asking they should be addressed separately?
That's what I wanted that clarification.
For discussion, I think we can handle it separately on the ad hoc committee. I still think it has to do with the lot coverage that we're dealing with, the issues that essentially as far as the dwellings go. So I mean, if it doesn't, if we want a separate committee to do that, to handle just this, that's fine. I just think that we already have something in place, that if we can do this and just go through it real quick and get the legal opinion on where we can get this done, rather than just throw it to planning and then come back here.
Yeah, I guess I'm not looking to have two separate committees.
Oh, no,
It's
I
just
don't want, no,
that
I
this be
just,
addressed as independent items and then separate reports issued on each one of them.
and with the time element, because this has, we're not, in reading this, we're not bound by law to have it done by January, but the new law does take effect January. So the quicker we act on this, and this may take one meeting at our next thing, just to address this real quick, put the other one on hold, because there are provisions in this new, they call them additional dwelling units, that may help us apply to our accessory building law. So we can look at that too as a way to help our situation that we have.
Yeah, and I guess my earlier answer was based upon, not exactly knowing where we are in the process with the accessory buildings. And it may be that they can go together, may not.
Okay.
Whatever works the
Can you
best.
say that again? I'm sorry. I was watching the firemen go.
No, I just said my earlier answer was based upon not knowing, since I haven't attended one of the meetings, not knowing precisely where we are in terms of the potential revisions to the accessory building ordinance. It may be that they can go together, maybe that they go separately. But that's an issue which the ad hoc committee can decide.
I'm good with them taking the two. I think they'll take it separately. I'm good with that. Berwin, you all right with it?
I'm all right with it.
Robin?
If they're addressed separately, I think.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Good. All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Hoffman, second by Mayor Bash, to have item 3F, which is the zone code amendment, to go to the ad hoc committee for a discussion, and then their discussion forwarded to the planning commission, and then presented to the council, correct? Thank you. Roll call, Mayor Bash,
Yes.
Council members Grunmeyer, Hannah, Hoffman,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is passed 5-0.
By the way, I'm going to, just so that people know, I actually got an email that somebody asked, how did we determine who went first in the voting? And just so everybody knows, it's the city clerk. I never know what she's going to do. I didn't really like that, but Cheryl talked me into it, and actually I think it works pretty well, and she just randomly decides who's going to go first, so.
Toes.
Keeps them on their toes, yes. Moving on to public comments. This is the time when the public can address. Oh, okay. I'd make a motion to receive and file the rest, Ted.
Mayor Bash?
Yes.
Motion and the second. Roll call, Mayor Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Grunmeyer?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem.
Now this is number 4, public comments. This is a time when persons or wish to speak to something that is not on the agenda can take the time. You have 3 minutes. Do we have any cards?
I do have one card, Dan Luce.
Hello, Mr. Luce. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
My name's Dan Luce. I live at 3591 Temescal, and I'm a resident here for 47 years.
Oh.
I'm talking to you about the trees that the city wants to take out of my front yard. Now, my wife and I don't want them taken out because they provide shade for us in the late afternoon in the summer. We do not have air conditioning. I can't afford the electric bill. And the report from the guy who looked at the trees said that they're deformed, and that's because Edison deformed them, and Edison wants them taken out. Okay, going back a little bit, a number of years ago, there was power lines running up and down 6th Street, and Norco decided they didn't like to look at the power lines, so they made Edison put them underground so they can grow trees and have a nice landscape. Well, we don't want to look at the power lines either. So I would like you to reconsider taking those trees out. Thank you.
I'm going to direct you to Chad, correct? And you've already spoken with him?
Yes, both myself and the city manager both have conversations with Mr. Luce.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll call you tomorrow to find out where we're at with that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I do have a second card. Jeff Can.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. As the Vice Chair of the Executive Committee for the Memorial, I just want to say how proud I am of this town. We've got such great volunteers. We've got such great staff. To put on a memorial ceremony to honor our veterans, it's just something that needs to be done, and we do it. And even though I'm on the committee, I just want to say that we did do a good job. We honor our veterans. And I'm not saying in a proud way, I'm just saying I'm proud of our town.
I think you did a good job.
Everybody worked hard in it, and it was a great ceremony. And I can't even tell you what it's like, not being a veteran myself, but just being in Scouts, which is a good patriotic support organization, to be standing at the George Ingalls Veterans Memorial Plaza and watch Joe Ingalls put a flag into the fire and salute him and thank him for his service. Just, you can't describe that feeling, to know what sacrifice people have made for our country. So I'm very proud of every time we do a ceremony up there. It's a great thing. One of my other wonderful responsibilities in town is to be the chairman of the Christmas parade. The Parade of Lights is coming up in about 3.5 weeks. So I just wanted to remind you, December 10th, all day long from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. we'll have the Christmas festival up at the Nellie Weaver area, and then the parade down 6th Street, which is being headed up by our wonderful parade chairman, Pat Overstreet. 5 o'clock sharp, right, Pat? 5 o'clock sharp. So want to invite the town to participate, come up to the festival, line 6th Street, and help us to celebrate another wonderful Christmas season. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other public comments?
No, that's it.
No. Closing public comments. Moving on to 5, legislative matters. 5A, ordinance number 1008, second reading.
Just need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mayor Bash and a second from Councilmember Hannah to approve ordinance number 1008 in its second reading. Mayor Pro Tem Newton. Commission members Hoffman?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Grunmeyer?
Yes.
And Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Wonderful. Motion passed 5-0.
Gonna switch mid-meeting now.
I just thought I'd have a little fun with you guys.
So you read it?
No.
Oh, we're done?
Just, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Second reading.
All right, moving on to 5B, ordinance number 1009, first reading, a request to amend chapter 6. Okay.
No, it's second reading. You have this same agenda that I do. It's actually a second reading.
Oh, second reading.
Yeah, typo.
Sorry, guys.
My apologies.
Go ahead.
So you just need a motion.
A motion and a second,
approve.
please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mayor Bash and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Newton. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Grunmeyer? Yes. And Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed 5-0.
Okay, and then moving on to 5C.
That's also a second reading.
Second reading, specific plan 18.85.01. Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion from Mayor Bash, second from Mayor Pro Tem Newton to approve ordinance number 1010 on its second reading. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Newton?
Yes, sir.
Council members Hoffman?
No.
Hannah?
Yes.
Grunmeyer? And Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Motion passed 4-1.
Yes.
Clarification.
Can you talk into your...
The reason for my no vote is recorded as I still feel we need a architect review committee on this motion prior goes to the planning commission. I just didn't like taking out the ARC from it. Thank you.
Moving on to 6, discussion action items. A, Norco Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center Annual Report for 2015. Economic Development Consultant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. In economic development, there is no greater asset, no greater resource than a strong Chamber of Commerce. So we're always very eager to partner with the Norco Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center. And their executive director, President and CEO, Diane Collins, is here today to make her annual report. It entails a lot of the work that we've done together as a team, the city and the chamber, as well as a lot of initiatives they've begun on their own, and we look forward to their continuing cooperation. With that, Diane.
Good evening.
Do with this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ray.
Yeah. Well, you have printed copies in case this doesn't work, right?
Yeah, but they're all scribbled out. See?
That's just the mission and the vision. That's not a big
Oh, you
deal.
don't need any of that mission statement stuff. Okay, good. Vision statement. I can see.
Awesome. Wonderful, thank you. So, good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff members. It is my pleasure. Well, yeah, we're over. I just want to compliment Diane on working out a workaround on the technical issues this afternoon.
The school district told us that their above audio is not working. That's why we kind of makeshift here.
So, but it's my pleasure to bring you our update from the Norco Area Chamber of Commerce this evening. So about 2 years ago, the Chamber Board adopted this simple statement as our mission: to enhance the community by strengthening business. Along with our mission, our accompanying vision includes the city's motto of city living in a rural atmosphere and focuses on building the business community in an environment that fosters retention, growth, and success. We recognize that attracting new businesses is essential, but that nurturing the current businesses in town is just as important, if not more so. We have an excellent board of directors comprised of 10 individuals from a variety of business types and sizes, providing direction and leadership, plus myself and one part-time support staff person handling the day-to-day operations. So the next slides encompass the activities which the Chamber has been up to since our last report to you, which was about 18 months ago. We continue with our monthly luncheons on the third Wednesday of each month. We feature a wide variety of speakers, including elected officials, agencies serving the community, motivational leadership training, and local organizations. MAC Networkers, which is our peer-to-peer business referral group, met on the remainder of the Wednesdays, and for 2015 generated nearly $120,000 in referrals, both between themselves and to other chamber members. We also held a handful of after-hours events to provide casual networking opportunities for both the members and prospective members. Our regular events also include grand openings and ribbon cuttings whenever they're requested, and we did a few around town, as well as a couple in Eastville and Corona that were joint with the chambers there, and a couple of anniversary recognitions as well. So the Chamber traditionally holds 3 major events each year: our annual dinner to install our board of directors and present Community Chamber Recognition Awards, and the State of the City event for the mayor, with the Taste of Norco accompanying it, highlighting chamber member restaurants. In July of 2015, we held our third annual Military Appreciation Luncheon. When we were looking at our plan for 2016, it was suggested that instead of military, which is very well recognized in this town and we love them, but we thought about our first responders as well. So in September, we held our inaugural First Responder Appreciation Luncheon, recognizing our Norco sheriffs, CAL FIRE, and volunteer organizations, including the Norco Mounted Posse and NART. In addition, during city council election years, we traditionally hold a candidates forum. We also participate in a number of community and local events. At the fair, we've often had a booth, and this past fair, we approached the fair committee and decided to, with them, be their information booth, giving our booth more of a purpose. And then we also created an informational handout that was very well received by all the fair goers, and we traditionally also staff a beer booth. Parades, we've had floats in the 2015 Labor Day Parade and the 2016 Horse Week Parade. In both 2015 and 16, the Inland Empire's largest mixer is a regional event that's held in Ontario, and we've had a booth there promoting the Norco business community. We've participated in American Express's Small Business Saturday Shop Small program with a Shop Norco passport, where you go around to various businesses in town and get stamped and possibly win prizes. 2016, we also had a booth and as well as a coupon flyer promoting Visit Norco at the Horsetown Brewing Queue. We participated in the planning and had a booth at National Night Out, and we were also on the planning committee for the 2016 Navy Ball. Government affairs is a big part of a chamber, along with the networking and events that we do. We are represented on the city's Economic Development Advisory Council. We participate with the Inland Empire Chamber Legislative Alliance, which is a regional group providing a stronger voice from the Inland Empire at the state level. And then we're also a member of Cal Chamber. So I'm the Chamber's representatives for these three and report back and receive direction from our board of directors. So I'm a firm believer in continuing education and professional development, and fortunately my board of directors agrees with me. So we go to these events. There's a Southern California Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives Leadership Development Workshop each year that our board of directors accompanies me to, learning how to better serve in their roles. And then I've also recently completed my third year and final year of the Western Association of Chamber Executives Academy, and we'll be graduating in February, and at the conference that I also attend. And I attended a workshop for the membership management system that we now have to learn how to better utilize that. So operationally, we've made a couple of really big changes operationally last year. One of the biggest was contracting with a software company to automate our membership management and provide us with an easy-to-use website that's powered by the management system. It enables us to provide online membership applications, including payment, more easily manage our membership dues and renewals, provide online event registration, and it incorporates a community calendar that, very honestly, is being seriously underutilized, and we're hoping to reach out to the local community and the local organizations to better utilize that and put their events into our calendar so that there's more of a sole place in town that you can see what's going on. Another really exciting thing that we incorporated was the business education video library. It is a subscription that we purchased and provide as a members-only benefit. And it's hundreds of videos, and they're not classes per se, they're how-to videos designed to help small business owners with specific issues. All of the show hosts are seasoned practitioners, not teachers or professors, and they're particularly helpful for small companies with 1 to 15 employees. And if you would like to take a look at what we have going on there, I'd be very happy to provide you with a password to do so. So So operationally, one of the things in our lease agreement with the city is to provide a report on the walk-in and telephone traffic as well as our membership. The last couple of years I have gone through our logs and recorded and done statistics, and I decided the best use of our time this year was not to go through and create that spreadsheet, but to just report that it's pretty much the same. So we haven't had a lot of changes as far as the telephone and walk-in traffic. We're hoping that with some of the things that we're looking at that I'll get to, that will change in the coming year. So hopefully I'll have some more exciting reports on that. Our membership numbers have also remained steady in the 150 to 160 range. One of the significant changes that we did make last year was a change in our bylaws. We shifted the board terms from a January 1 start to a July 1st start. We also extended the term limits from 2 terms to 3 to ensure more continuity in the leadership. Norco is a small town, a small business community, small chamber, so we don't have a large pool to pull from, and I wanted to ensure that this fantastic leadership that we now have in place wasn't forced to leave by our bylaws without being able to really develop some strong people to come in behind them. We also changed the position of vice chairman to chairman-elect, again, to provide some more continuity. The board itself selects its executive committee each year, but this will help us that right now I know who my chairman's going to be next year. We know who that leader is going to be, so we're able to take and really develop that person and train them on what their role will be for the coming year. Lastly, we established a seat of immediate past chairman. Again, to not lose that institutional knowledge and not lose that person once they're done with their chairmanship, that they don't just walk away and take it all with them, that we keep them around at least for another year in order to help us with that transition and to continue to grow. So that's what we've been up to for the last 18 months or so. Looking ahead, we typically hold a planning meeting each year to determine whether we're on the right path or if any changes should be made. With the bylaws changes, it gives us the opportunity to hold the meetings in the fall after any new board members have had some time to get up to speed and to give time to put everything in place and set an upcoming year's budget prior to January 1st. Our meeting this year was held on October 1st, and I am really excited about the results. So this is the Western Association of Chamber Executives a few years ago conducted a survey of chamber members and determined that there are 5 core competencies that are both expected and conducted by chambers of commerce. So these were just some things that we always keep in mind during our planning process on that these are the things that we really need to be looking at. So looking forward into 2017, we will be continuing the State of the City and Taste of Norco, as long as the city is willing to have us do so. We will have our installation and awards dinner, but instead of January, as has traditionally been, it will be in July. And we are also going to continue with the First Responder Appreciation Luncheon because we were very pleased with the outcome, and I think I have some support from the Sheriff and Fire Departments to continue that as well. The other thing that we came out of the planning meeting with was our networking group that was meeting on the Wednesdays, the NAC Networkers, was struggling a little bit with attendance and things. So we're looking at a way to revitalize it. And so we looked at everything that we were doing, and our mixers were very random, and networkers are struggling a little bit. The third Wednesday is doing pretty well with the monthly luncheon. So we kind of went, let's make networkers more important by doing it once a month instead of every week, because it's every week, I can just go next week. And so it's going to always be on the first Wednesday. The second Wednesday, we're still working on exactly what we're going to do, whether it's a breakfast or a lunch or education, Chamber 101, pancakes and politics, something like that is what we have in mind, but we're still waiting to determine that. We're looking to launch that hopefully in January. Third Wednesday continues as our monthly luncheon. Fourth Wednesdays will be a mixer every month, and we are calling them after hours roundups. We must embrace our Horsetown USA-ness. And then the fifth Wednesday, there are 4 in 2017, and we're looking to do some interesting something on the fifth Wednesday. That way you'll know that if it's Wednesday, it's NAC. So that's our theme for the year. We also will be continuing, we are hoping to do an e-waste collection again. That whole thing has kind of changed with what the companies are able to pay for to collect and things. So we're looking at the possibility that the company that we'd contracted with the last few years is no longer doing it. So it's a little bit up in the air. We're planning on having a parade or a float in the Horse Week Parade, participate with the Brewing Queue, National Night Out, whatever that looks like. We would love to be a part of that again. The Norco Fair, the information booths and the handout was so well received, and we were very happy with it. The fair committee was very happy with it. So we're intending to do that again and hopefully improve it, as always. Inland Empire's largest mixer will be back there promoting Norco to the region. Navy Ball, absolutely. Small Business Saturday Passport, we've got that coming up a week from Saturday, so I hope you all go out and shop Norco that day. And the Parade of Lights, we're hoping for a sweepstakes award on that one again. So, two new things that we have discussed implementing and that we're intending to implement is a new event, a new annual event, which is the Business Expo. One sector of the Norco business community that is not well represented within the chamber is the equine and animal keeping businesses. So we're looking at doing some type of business expo that will really embrace them and showcase them and get their involvement. And then we also are going to be launching an ambassador committee, and hopefully that will be launched in July or January as well. More things we're going to do this year. Visit Norco.com. We've had the URL for quite some time. We are going to be building that out as a consumer-focused website so that it's going to complement the visitor center that we're trying to increase the significance of. And with the Visit Norco.com, we're also going to be able to list all of the businesses in Norco, not just the chamber members, although we will highlight the chamber members. So it will be something that's really focused on the people that are coming to Silver Lakes, that are coming to Ingalls, to whatever events are coming to town. Visit Norco. And this should be a place where they can go to get the information that they need to enjoy their stay while they're here. We'll be creating new business welcome packets. We're going to coordinate with the city to receive the list of the new business licenses and reach out to welcome them. A chamber info benefits brochure. We've had different things and we're just going to revamp that. How to open a business guide. And that's something I know the city is also looking at, so we're looking forward to working with the city on how to develop that and make it not, something that can be on both of our websites, the cities and the chambers, as well as a printed guide for people that if they're calling and asking about, how do I make a business in Norco? Here, this is the information you need. Chairman's Circle or executive partnerships, this is really common. It's a very good way for both the businesses that are supporting the organization and the chamber itself to help with their budgeting processes. It's more of an annual sponsorship that includes the various events and advertising and networking opportunities and things. So we'll be implementing those, and we're actually in the middle of drafting those right now. And then the community guide and map, and I'm really, really excited about this. Ad sales have actually already begun on that. It's a 5.5 by 10.5 printed piece. I think it's 28 pages, 20 something in that range, and has a fold-out map in the center. It's obviously supported by advertising, but it will have community information. We are not going to put a business directory in it because we want it to have a continued shelf life, and so we're looking to distribute that through the hotels, through the real estate offices, restaurants, and hopefully Silver Lakes as well. There's also an electronic component to it that will be included in the Visit Norco website and can be distributed electronically. Again, leveraging some of what Silver Lakes is doing and the people that are coming there, that we can give them this information, however that may look, that they, as they're coming here from, regionally and nationally, that they know what Norco is offering to them. So The Chamber of Horstown USA. I love that one. So through the Chamber's seat on EDAC, we had the opportunity to be a part of the process of updating the city strategic plan this past May. Part of our strategic planning process at the beginning of October was to review the city's strategic plan to find those areas that coincide with our mission and vision statements or that have an impact on the business community, and to see how our efforts can support the city's goals. So the numerous things in the city strategic plan, there's I think 8 of them that we identified some type of collaboration or some type of input that may be valuable from the Chamber. So the first one was the implementation of a revenue measure. Chamber recognizes that is probably necessary, and we are very willing to help communicate whatever the information gathering that's required and to assist with that. And then as far as what the stance the city will, or the Chamber will take on that, that will be determined by what the revenue measure is decided to be. So we'll see. So improving communications community-wise, I think that visitnorco.com and what we're doing with that website can definitely help complement what the city's doing here, and I hope to be able to collaborate with that. Providing residents and businesses with access to the city information, again, incorporating these things into the Chamber's websites, both the Norco Area Chamber.org site that is focused on the business community and the new Visit Norco consumer website should help disseminate this information. It gives another place for people to go to find it. Public safety education programs with specifically Business Watch and code enforcement. These are things that we would love to work with the city and the different departments to improve the understanding communications regarding safety, helping to promote these programs, and we're very interested in however we can assist with Business Watch, obviously, and also how we can help communicate the issues regarding code enforcement specifically as it relates to business. Educating residents about the historical, cultural resources in the community, fostering interest in historic preservation and Norco's rich heritage. We currently have a small historic We currently have a small historic display in the office, and we would definitely be interested in expanding that and utilizing the visitor center aspect of the Chamber office to further this portion of the strategic plan. So whatever we can do to help with this. New marketing materials, looking at developers. We would love to work with the city developing this data, coordinate our efforts to increase the content on both of our websites to provide the additional information that would coordinate with these efforts, and also the community guide should be able to assist with this. I already mentioned that we're looking to develop the How to Open a Business in Norco guide. What's kind of interesting is that my board of directors came up with this. We did a blank slate session within our planning, and they came up with this before we even looked at the strategic plan. So great minds think alike. And finally, we've been looking at including disaster preparedness education for the business community in our expanded If It's Wednesday, It's NAC offerings. And this may be something that would be good for the fifth Wednesdays, unique things like this. And that's pretty much all I have. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Diane?
I have one, Diane.
Yeah.
Your business expo that you plan for today, have you talked, and I don't want to put Frankie in a hot seat, he's already there. Have you talked to Brian Petrie at all on this?
I have not yet.
You might want, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, just get with him first regarding that, because I think there's something in the works. Maybe you
Great minds are thinking alike.
Yeah, you can jag along together. Other than that, thank you. Great report.
Great. Thank you. So remember, shop small, shop Norco, buy Chamber.
Robin?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not out here so fast, huh? I just have a couple questions for you, Diane.
Sure.
The first question I had, when you guys are going to like the Inland Empire mixer and all that kind of stuff, what's the reception or what kind of feedback are you getting about Norco? And do you guys see a payout specifically for Norco when you're going to those events, or what's your feel for that?
The first couple of years that we had our booth up there, I was kind of like, why? And this year, we actually got a lot. I think it was the event itself was better this year. And we have 2 new members and 3 potential new members from it. It's something that we take our stuffed horse, we play ring toss with it. We embrace. We've got our hats and boots on. We embrace Norco, and so it's fun just to get people out there and to remind them that Horsetown USA is right here.
Perfect. The next question I had for you, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure how many people are on your board, but do you elect a whole new board every year, or are you going off proportionally so there's some consistency?
It's half and half.
Okay.
Okay. And we do our election process a few years ago was having more names than seats, which I think is very appropriate for a lot of organizations, including councils and and presidents. But with the Chamber of Commerce, because you really want a balanced representation on your board, so we have kind of shifted towards where we present a slate to our membership and say this is who we recommend for the board. So in July we'll be coming up with 5 open seats, and so we'll present a slate of 5 for approval by the membership.
Perfect. And I do wholeheartedly support your decision to go to the chairman-elect and having that immediate past president, because what a resource that person is.
Thank you.
And that's a great thing. And last question for you. On your strategic plan and developing the procedures for permit and developing process for the new businesses, do you guys have an intent to kind of help those people that are home-based businesses that maybe don't even think that they need a business permit? Maybe they're doing stuff out of their house where, maybe they should have something, but I don't feel like they know or people are reaching out to them. Is that kind of part of this as well?
It wasn't specifically, but it definitely should be.
Okay.
And I think the challenge with that is identifying them.
Right.
It's because if they don't have a business license, how do you identify them unless, hey, my neighbor's selling Avon?
Right. And I think that's just something we could probably capitalize on a little bit more in the city, because when you're going to sporting events, like let's say you have children and you're going to sporting events, there's a lot of quote unquote vendors there that are typically some of those home businesses that are coming to get their crafty hats or their blingy shirts or some of those things. And I don't think it's like intentional, but it might be an opportunity to bring those people into the business community and make them more not valid, but when they have a business license and everything, it's more important.
I think that goes.
For them.
I think that goes along with some of the conversation that we've had at EDAC as well, as far as the business licenses. So that's something that Roger, you and I should probably talk about.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Berwin? Greg?
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Good report. That's what I want to say before he tried to stop me. Thank you.
You want to repeat it? So short. Good report. Greg?
Thank you.
I'll repeat the second.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So remember, shop small, shop Norco, buy Chamber, and get out on Small Business Saturday, the 26th, with your passport. And thank you.
And I concur that you have a great board. Really great board. Congratulations. Okay, moving on to motion to receive and file.
Motion was Mayor Bash?
Yes.
Correct? Okay, second by Mayor Pro Tem Newton. Roll call, Mayor Pro Tem Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Grandmeyer? And Mayor Bash?
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed. Receive and file.
Moving on to where are we? Housing assistance. Moving on to 6B, modification of the housing assistance utility program.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'll be presenting a few minutes of the staff report for your review, and then I'll be requesting a slight modification to the report, which may be included in the motion to adopt the resolution. And I'll begin the report. City staff is proposing a modification to the Housing Assistance Utility Program. The Housing Assistance Utility Program addresses the needs of lower-income homeowners, particularly seniors or on fixed incomes who have water and sewer service provided by the city. With the proposed water and sewer rate increases over the next 5 years coming to the City Council in December, and also included in a public notice recently distributed, City staff is recommending modifying the application process of this particular program and the amount of subsidy provided to eligible recipients upon approval of the rate increases. The current program, I'll give you a little bit of a background on this. The city staff is proposing to change the flat rate of $44.75 to a percentage of the utility bill. And particularly, the current bill is a flat rate and is applied to all qualified utility bills. The breakdown per subsidy is $28 for sewer and $16.75 for water service. Under the modified program, a qualified participant would receive a 50% discount on their water usage of up to 20 units. The sewer rate, including non-connect, and fixed monthly water meter charge up to a 1-inch meter. This is different in that we are applying this percentage to the fixed monthly water meter charge and the non-connect. The discount on water consumption, the discount on water consumption would be limited to the first 20 units of water usage. Any usage above 20 units would be charged the normal rate. On an average utility bill with 20 units of consumption, the proposed program subsidy would be $58.13, and this is on the average of 20 units, as compared to the current flat rate of $44.75. The 50% rate would continue to apply through the July 1st, 2020 rate increase, with an estimated subsidy of between $80.87 to an estimated subsidy of up to $80.87 on a $161.74 utility bill. Now, the estimated annual cost of this program will range between $76,000 and $106,000. Currently, over 77% of the 109 participants in the current subsidy program consume less than 20 units on average. Implementing a subsidy program that is based on a percentage of the bill will ensure that a burden of future rate increases is minimized to eligible participants. We are also proposing a modification to the current application process. The current application process requires applicants to provide a proof of income by providing either 2 pay stubs, a Social Security award letter, or a pension statement, a copy of the last 2 months' bank statements, a copy of a driver's license with all household members over 18, and a copy of the most recent water bill. And this also includes eligibility based on our housing program's income qualification chart. And eligibility of the program is renewed annually through our housing department program. Now, in surveying other cities with similar program, staff is requesting to modify the application process. We are requesting that enrollment, a participant can be qualified by enrollment in the California Alternate Rates for Energy Program, or CARE. And this would be basically a bill, or Edison bill, a gas bill, or a telephone billing statement, and a signed photocopy of the CARE program application, or a copy of the applicant's California state or federal income tax return for the most recent year, ending December 31st, with the Social Security number redacted. Proof that the applicant resides at the location of utility service, a copy of the driver's license or other ID for all household members over 18, and of course their income will have to comply with our housing program's income qualification chart, because we are using housing funds. Now, the program will continue to require annual renewal of eligibility. Upon City Council approval of the proposed program changes, all existing participants will be grandfathered into the program. Existing participants will be provided with a 60-day notification of the new eligibility requirements before their annual renewal. If the proposed water and sewer rates are not implemented, the proposed eligibility requirements will remain in place. At this point, I would like to add that after completion of this report, we identified a small group of applicants that will require additional assistance. We are proposing a $10 flat rate discount for those households that consume on average between 2 and 5 units of water monthly. Due to the change from a flat to a discount to a percentage, these households will require assistance during the transition. The households will be reviewed annually for qualification for this additional discount. On an ongoing basis, we will monitor participation in the program and make adjustments as necessary with your approval. This concludes the staff's report. We are available for any questions.
Council, bringing you back. Ted, go ahead.
I'm just curious why the change. How many people are on this $10 and why are we doing this?
You notice due to the change in consumption, additionally originally it was a flat rate that everybody received, $44.75. When we moved to percentage rate, it of course it's percentage on the sewer rate, which could be $51, on the meter, which is a fixed rate, but then on consumption, it is going to be changing there. It's no longer a flat rate. So we notice that those that consume less will have a burden as we transition to this different percentage to a higher fixed rate on our bills versus variable.
Okay, now I understand. All right, now how many people are we talking about? Just you got 109 on this program now?
109, and we're looking at I would say 10 to 15. I'm going to look closer at that. Really, it's
out of that 109.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then I guess my second question: who enforces? I mean, this program. I know we're asking for everything, but how do we enforce the abuses and the accountability on these people? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a good program. It's a senior program. It works very well, but as you get other people come in and take advantage of the situation, that there is a discount because this is a senior and they get this, we have these multi-generation homes in there that we have these abuses and we're subsidizing, or the housing authority is subsidizing. How do we do the accountability? How do we do the enforcement on these?
Well, we are modifying it to include the federal income tax return, which prior to this we had just proof of Social Security.
So now they have to provide for us some kind of an income, because we never did that before?
No, okay. not the federal side, not the federal income tax return.
Okay.
So it was just a proof of Social Security, and then we, like I said, we asked for identification for other individuals in the household. One other area that we're going to be looking at in more detail is the consumption that's in the household, and we're going to look at that from a proactive perspective, which is if we see a spike of any sort, we'll gladly go out to the home and see if there's a leak of any sort, and just make sure everything's in compliance.
So we're basically going to use the 20 units per month.
Correct.
And determine if there's a larger use of it than
consistently.
Okay. I'm worried about the accountability of abuse of these programs. And Chad's his people are gonna make sure of that, right? No.
It's all on finance.
It's all on finance. Okay. You guys work together. This is a team. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Yes. And Roger may have a response to this as well.
It's all on Roger now.
Well, no, the new program, it's generous, it's fair, and it's quite accessible in the sense that it's easy to apply for, and with the required income tax verification. Naturally, every program like this has, somebody will try to abuse the system, but for the most part, we've had pretty good success with this. These seniors have been, these are folks that really need the help, and when we go through our annual verification, almost 100% of them are typically re-verified.
Okay, thank you.
Greg?
Good report, Gina. On the 109 participants, would you know how many on sewer are non-connect?
Yes, I believe 6. When I count, let me take a quick look. 7. I believe 7. Yes.
You were prepared. And then just to clarify, on the Prop 218 coming up, whether it passes or fails, this program moves forward.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thanks.
With respect to eligibility, we will not be recommending the Are we recommending a 50% discount still?
No, we're not.
So,
Just the change in the structure of the program.
in the eligibility of the program.
If the rates are not passed, we will
correct.
we will maintain the $44.75 flat rate on the program, and but we will change the qualifications of the program.
And we won't go to the $58?
No. If the proposed rate increases aren't approved.
Why? Why couldn't we do it regardless?
This is a taxpayer subsidy. The intent is obviously to provide assistance. It's not to pay their entire bill. And if assumed the rate doesn't get adopted, I hope it never comes to that. By providing this larger subsidy, again, we want to assist as many people as possible. We want to make sure that the funds in the program continue to be there in the foreseeable future. Again, is a taxpayer-funded program, and we believe that the recommended increase is intended to alleviate the additional burden, and if that additional burden is not there, then again, we have not been told that the current subsidy is not sufficient.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robin?
I have a couple of questions on the eligibility on the second part where it talks about the or, and it says proof that the applicant resides at the location of the utility service. What kind of things would you accept for that specific requirement?
I believe in the past we've used an actual city utility bill for that.
Okay. And then just for clarification, this is not only a senior program, correct? It's anybody that has low income and meets these requirements, right? Okay, because I know we have several families in town that would probably meet eligibility that are not seniors, so just from work. And then the last question I had was on the funds come from, according to the report, the Successor Agency Housing Fund. So I wanted to know, and Andy's kind of touched on it a little bit, I think, where exactly that money comes from and what's the sustainability of that fund long term for keeping up the subsidy.
This funds previously came from the 20% housing set-aside monies, which is 20% of the tax increment that came to the redevelopment agency. 20% of that was set aside into the housing fund. With the dissolution of the RDA, that money is not being replenished, which means is withdraw from it until it runs out. We still have sufficient fund to continue the program, but clearly at some point down the road, this is one of the programs that is being undertaken with the funds in that, the money is in that fund. There are other housing assistance programs that the city is also engaged in.
Okay, so another quick question for you. When your little crystal ball and the current use of the fund, how long do you see that money being available then for this particular subsidy?
I don't think we looked at it that specifically. But the money is we estimate it will be there at least for the next 10 years.
Okay.
And we did use an average of 20 units. So this is it's a higher estimate. Yeah.
Merwin?
Thank you. Good report, Gina. Right now, everybody gets a flat rate of $44.75.
Correct.
Whether they use 20 or more than 20 units.
Yes.
Okay, so now this is where the confusion comes. You're going to change the flat rate of $44.75 to a percentage for the ones that use 20 or less. Is that correct?
Correct.
On the on the deal, they'd receive a 50% discount. Okay, with the ones that use 20 or more, the subsidy will go up to $58.13. Is that correct?
No, the ones who use 20 or more will not have a subsidy on any consumption above 20 units. So I'll clarify it a little bit more. In the past, we had the $44.75 just on the water and sewer rate, and the sewer rate is fixed.
Right.
And then consumption, so it was a flat rate of $44.75 deducted from the bill. You still saw all the other charges, it was a deduction on the bill. This will be similar, except we're adding in the fixed meter rate, and the connect or non-connect is there as well, and if you have a septic tank, and then also if it's the sewer. So this rate is 50% on all of that, up to 20 units of consumption. We will not go any higher than that on consumption. It'll be the current rate on any units above 20. The average, when we determined 20 units as being our average, we identified $58 as being the average subsidy for that bill. If you have used 20 units, you have a 3/4 or an inch meter, and you've got a sewer charge.
Okay, so if you go over 20, it's going to go back to the regular rate then?
Correct for the any amount above 20.
Okay, thank you.
Good report, thank you. I'm really proud of this program. We're one of the few that actually do it, so good job. Do I hear any other questions? Do I hear a motion to receive and file? Adopt resolution, I'm sorry.
Move to adopt.
Second.
With the amendment, yes.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Hoffman and a second by Mayor Bash to adopt Resolution 2016-62 to approve the modification with the amendment mentioned by Ms. Shikard. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Newton?
Yes.
Council members Hoffman?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Grandmeyer? And Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Motion has passed 5-0.
Moving on to 7A, approval of projects for use of Community Development Block Grant Funds, CDBG. Who has this one? Frankie. In a tie.
Pressure's on.
Holy moly. Jeez. You know, he looks like a Goomba, doesn't he?
I know no one recognizes me. Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Before you tonight are project applications for council approval through the 2017-2018 Community Development Block Grant Program year. A little over $76,000 has been estimated for available funding. Of this allocation, $11,422 will be designated for public service programs, and $64,723 must be used for public facility projects. Staff is submitting 2 applications for consideration as follows. 1, Senior Citizen Recreation Leader in the amount of $15,000. This program provides part-time staff personnel at the Norco Senior Center to coordinate senior activities and special events. 2, Ingalls Park ADA Restroom Shower Phase 2 in the amount of $64,723. Although Phase 1 is complete, the city is seeking additional funds for Phase 2 to bring restroom showers up to user capacity with ADA compliance at the George Ingalls Equestrian Event Center to meet the needs of users and persons with disabilities. This is a multi-year project whereby $137,167 has been previously approved towards Phase 2. Both applications meet CDBG program funding requirements for public services and public facilities. Final adjustments will be made to selected programs and projects once the actual allocation amount is known. At this time, staff is asking council to approve the projects to be submitted for funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program year 2017-2018. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? Berwin, Robin, Ted?
I don't want to pick on Frankie on the hot seat, but I already warned him. I'm fully for this because it definitely need to put the restroom and the shower facility up in Ingalls along with the other part for the funding. And maybe this is more of a question. We have 3 facilities up there now. The one at Pikes Peak Park, and this is also at the Andy, is and the 2 bathrooms up at Ingalls now. Correct. And along with this will be a 3rd one. All of them are in the same state of, let's put it this way, disrepair. They need maintenance. And I would hope that if we go along with this, we're very good at building things and putting them in there, but we're very poor at maintaining them. And I say this because we're going to go into your budget meetings here in January. So whatever we do in every one of these buildings, and I know that our CIP fund is nothing for that, and we don't have the $440,000 a year for the parks, but all these buildings up in Ingalls need to be maintained. And so I would hope that, and I'm for this project, but I hope that when we do this, we also recall that every time we approve these buildings, we have to maintain them. And that's, like I said, not on you on the hot seat, because it's not fair to you, but just so you know, that's what I'm going to ask, is that we do this, Andy, is that we make sure that we do these buildings, that we include maintenance fees with these new buildings. Thank you.
Well, that's why I'm going to defer to Andy on this.
Yes, I can comment on this. And that is, there are 2 types of maintenance. The operating maintenance, I assume, is part of what we take a look at when we adopt our general fund operating budget. And I rely on the folks who maintain the facilities to do appropriate budget requests to make sure that the ongoing day-to-day maintenance of the building is undertaken. There are also issues. The second type of maintenance is the capital maintenance, which is replacing part of the infrastructure. That is something that we know we are challenged with respect to finding funds to do those capital replacement, especially with city public buildings. There are no funds that are designated currently to do those capital replacement on those buildings. So we do them as we prioritize them, meaning that we don't have an ongoing capital replacement or maintenance program with these facilities, but we do take a look at them, and like we did at this last budget cycle, where we identified some of those projects where we had to do those replacement through the general fund. We'll continue to do that, but the reality of it is that that is just a Band-Aids. Ultimately, we need to address our overall infrastructure needs.
Robin?
I just had a couple of questions. On page 2 of the staff report, it talks about to be eligible, there's the 4 requirements there. Am I correct to assume that when we apply for this, we're doing number 1, which is the activity will benefit low to moderate income persons like seniors and handicapped? Is that the one you guys are going for? Okay. And then just for the audience, under financial impact, it says there will be no impact to the city budget. So I wrote awesome by that for you. And then under the senior application, something kind of caught my attention. It talks about the benefits of the project, and so this is for the additional staff member.
Correct.
At the senior center, and it talks about having between 400 and 425 seniors visit the senior center every month, and then under B, they said over the course of 1 year, we anticipate reaching 800 unduplicated clients, which I think is amazing. So I'm just wondering, are these pretty typical numbers for the senior center? Are they going to do some outreach to local communities, or do we have that number of seniors here in Norco that we're servicing? Do you know?
I don't know that offhand.
I can help you with that.
Okay.
The senior center in Norco is actually a regional center, and we have people from Corona, Riverside that come here, and it's one of the most comfortable senior centers literally in the area. They have a lot more events, so I mean it's not unusual to have a ceramics class where you have people. In fact, I met somebody from Ontario, Chino, Corona, a couple of Norco people, several people that are in the 2 apartment buildings. But it is a regional center that everybody really enjoys and likes.
Oh, great. So I just wanted to bring those numbers up again so people could hear. And when I saw them, I was like, wow, that's really, really, really good information. So,
it's a good deal all around.
yeah. So thank you.
Erwin?
I think this is a good deal. I know when we used to have a master plan committee, which we're going to reinvent in January, but a master plan for the Ingalls Park. This is one of the things that was on that master plan is restrooms with showers. I know we got two restroom buildings there at the arena facilities, but we've always wanted to put in the one with a shower, so I'm happy to see that come along. So, thank you.
Do we have any cards on this? No. Okay, so we open and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Bash and a second by Councilmember Hannah to adopt Resolution 2016-63 confirming the report of costs. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. To approve the projects, the application for the CDBG program for program year 2017-2018. Roll call, Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
Yes.
Council members Hoffman.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Grunmeyer. And Mayor Bash.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed 5-0.
Moving on to B, confirming cost of 2016 tumbleweed abatement, Fire Battalion Chief, but he left.
There's my Fire Battalion Chief left. This is a resolution to confirm the report of cost for abatement of tumbleweeds and hazardous vegetation as public nuisance and imposing special assessment liens on vacant parcels within the city. The city had provided proper notice with respect to those property owners who did not abate their property. The city used its own contractor to go out and abate the property, and what staff is recommending is that you approve the process by which we charge back the cost of this abatement, which includes the city's actual cost plus 100% markup on administrative fees for the two parcels that are involved in this 2016 abatement of cost. So staff is recommending that you authorize us to go through the process and mail out invoices, and if they are not paid, then there will be a lien on the property.
Any questions, comments?
Question. Not necessarily just on these two, but when we go through this every time, how many of these abatements, when we send the invoices, do we get checks compared to how many have we had to put a lien on their properties?
Statistics, but I do believe most of the invoices that we actually send out do get paid. Only a small fraction of it, I don't know what that percentage is, actually gets lien against the property.
And the more typical program where we do ultimately lien is not tumbleweeds, it's the general weed abatement.
Correct. Yeah. Right. I'm just kind of curious about that. I think the administration fees ought to be 20 times as much, because it's just a service. Instead of them going out to do it, it's cheaper to hire the city.
Affected parcels requesting for the fee to be reduced, but obviously that's not going too far.
My understanding is you can only charge what it costs, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
I'd reply and go, we looked at it and now we're gonna double it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, and I recall when we saw this, that first one we saw earlier this year, where there was about 3 pages of parcels.
Yeah, that's a weed abatement program.
Okay, this is just tumbleweeds, all right. And then, and on a side note, I don't want to be hypocritical, but, and I'm for getting the money and improving this, but we need to clean up our own parcels in our own city.
I'm doing that.
Okay, before we start charging, we have some parcels that we need to clean house on. Thank you.
Let me ask a question. You'll probably tell me you can't give me an answer, but we had one huge parcel back over in that part of town that was a big problem last year. Every time the wind blew, it covered up houses on the other street, it covered up people's cars, it scratched them and everything. Did we ever get that lined out where that they take care of it now without it doing all that damage to the properties?
Brian Petrie, the deputy city manager, has actually had a meeting with them this year, and they are addressing the issues of weed on that property. You're speaking about the property on Mountain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we've been lucky right now for not having the Santa Ana winds, because I've been holding my breath. The guy that maintained the property next to me, his tractor broke down and there's tumbleweeds over there as big as trucks, and when they blow they come onto my property, so that makes me have to clean it up, and you got to break them down into little twigs. But I took care of that tonight. I've found a man with a tractor and a weed cutter that's going to go over there this week and cut them for him. So hopefully the wind don't blow before he gets there. Thank you.
Do we have any cards on this issue? Okay, opening and closing public hearing. Any other discussion? I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2016-63.
Thank you. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mayor Bash and a second from Councilmember Hoffman to adopt Resolution 2016-63, confirming the report of costs for the abatement of tumbleweeds. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Newton.
Yes.
Council members Hoffman.
Yes.
Hannah. Grunmeyer. And Mayor Bash.
Yes. Moving on to 8, City Council. Any City Council announcements or?
Mr. Mayor, I have just
Ted.
2 items, if I can. I noticed at their last Parks Commission meeting, they had an agenda item on public art, and I think that most of our public art that we talked about almost 3 years ago is completed, and so, and not putting any pressure on Frankie because he doesn't know, but
how'd you know?
Andy, can perhaps maybe in January we can get an accounting for that to show the transparency on the funding, and if that project is all completed, if that's not too much. No, I just there was a project and it was completed, if we can. Thank you. And then the other one, I want to thank Eric and your troops. Thank you for handling the traffic congestion at Valley and Crestview over the supermoon. I came back there, if you don't know, right there at Valley over the golf course, there's that lookout point. I came around there just after dark, and it was about 6 o'clock, and there were people all out in the streets. The sad part is some of them were very young children, and it's dark there, and you come around that curve, and I was worried about, and I thank you guys for going out there Tuesday. I don't know what's like tonight, but it just was an attractive nuisance for people, and I thank you guys for taking care of that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, great.
I was going to leave this for Ted, but had a couple of code enforcement requests from residents this week, and I'm wondering if we could do this either. I don't know if it can be informal or formal, that we look at our policy, and I think it's 104 in the municipal code and 105, that that maybe we need to strengthen it a little bit. The case was that there was a complaint filed, code enforcement went out, gave them the 20-day notice, has not been abated, the 20 days are now up, and no action was taken, no communications were exchanged. And then I believe it is our policy then we write another citation. And I'm thinking it's like, well, we didn't really mean it the first 20 days, so here's your next notice. Why don't we just move into, here's your 20 days. If there's no communications, no action, why don't we start looking at moving into turning it over to the attorney?
I mean, obviously, we don't have any problem with that. The purpose of the administrative citation program has generally been that you get compliance and it's a lot cheaper and quicker. But certainly you can, I mean, we can take a look, probably a good discussion, take a look at what we do. And in some circumstances, we actually don't go the second and third because there are things which are obviously, maybe because of communication, are not going to be fixed. And then with Javier, we decide when it comes to my office.
And I know if there's extenuating circumstances, then I don't have any problem with code enforcement working with that resident, but it kind of seems like, as we see on a national scale, I'm going to draw a line in the sand, and now I'm going to draw another line in the sand.
At least in theory, the line gets thicker because the price goes up.
So I'd like to have that discussion with that.
Is that a motion for a future meeting, or?
Well, if I can comment on this as well. Councilmember Newton, if you recall, I think there was an advisory committee that looked at this a couple of years ago, and what came out of that was we did go a long way in strengthening what we previously had. Again, dealing with some of these code enforcement issues, our goal is to try to get compliance, and as the city attorney correctly pointed out, certainly we can take a more heavy-handed approach on this with respect to going to the legal process, but we also have to be cognizant of the cost involved in this. So we believe that the process that was put in place a couple of years ago is working, as long as staff is certainly following up and making sure that we are communicating and again doing the follow-up with the residents. And when we get to a point where there seems to be no cooperation on the part of the resident, then we'll certainly pursue that legal process.
And honestly, before, from my office's point of view, before we proceed, it's really helpful when we actually have to go to court to have documentation about what lengths we've gone to try and get compliance before we file a complaint. A lot of the times it's, well, I mean, there's one, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, if we had that committee a couple of years ago, maybe it's time to just have senior staff and staff look at it to make sure that we are looking and we are following those policies that were put in place, and maybe it needs some tweaking, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
There's something that we can do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I'm fine with that at staff level.
Yeah, the committee, I was on that, and we wanted to recommend what you're stating, but it was the cost, and then it was also the idea of creating a paper trail going to court.
Right.
And that's why we were disappointed we couldn't slam them right away, but that's why we did it.
Well, and as I said, in some circumstances, after one, and it's pretty clear that nothing's going to happen, then Javier and senior staff make a decision. Let's not pursue it anymore. Just come.
And Javier is doing a great job.
Yeah,
there's no complaint. But Kevin, I know you've been copied on a few lately, and so maybe I understand the direction I'm going. Okay, next item, and maybe this is at a staff level or senior staff level report, building and safety. That this next year in January, and to me it all ties in with economic development, etc. There's going to be major changes in California building code, not only from energy, that construction costs are just going to go up dramatically by all the new code changes, specifically electrical, Title 24, more emphasis on LEED programs. And I'll have the wrong acronym here, that it's either, I think it's called like a CART certification, and this is going to come about, and it's going to impact cities, that it's somewhat that all new projects, all construction projects will now have to have a certified inspector sign off on all ADA requirements. And I don't know that much about it yet, but the cities are all shorthanded. 3 people in the state have the certification or something like that. So I think on staff level, we need to investigate that.
Actually, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, have this coming to the city council, the changes to the building code, in December, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. And would you check on that acronym for me? But I know that's going to be, I don't know if that'll be part of that change, but that's going to be an impact. But I think when, as we're trying to promote economic development and construction and things like that, people are going to be taken aback at what construction costs are going to be next year. And the last little follow-up I had was, we haven't met in a while. This is on our manure to energy. And the last we had was the guy with the pellets and the little bricks and all of that. Can we get an update on him or where we're at? And maybe we can kind of schedule get back up to speed on manure to energy.
I can briefly just tell you at this point, there's no change. I mean, they have a desire to look at a potential of coming to Norco, but they're currently looking at working on their existing project in Florida. So I have numerous times contacted them about when they plan to come out to do an actual visit, and they're still non-committal on that. So at this point, it's still just at a standstill, unfortunately.
Or at least a update report for council?
Well, as you know, West Management has an obligation to provide some sort of report.
We have that
we
coming
can
up
at least arrange
here
for
pretty
that.
soon, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you. And this side, Berwin.
Yeah, here, several months ago, I sent in some pictures of furniture and appliances sitting out in the right-of-way, and it was supposed to be published in the weekly report. Finally, a little paragraph or two got put in there about not putting your furniture out there, but no pictures. And the last 2 weeks, there's probably enough furniture and appliances to fill up Marino Arena, sitting around. I don't know if everybody's getting ready to get their Christmas shopping done or what, but it's a disgrace that this stuff gets set out there and people don't get fined for it. And one place in particular that's very irritating, and Newton knows about it, is right north of the Parks building on 5th and Valley View. At least twice a month somebody unloads a bunch of furniture over, and it'll sit there for 2 or 3 days until somebody moves it. And I don't know, I remember Public Works and the park guys driving down the road used to stop and pick this stuff up, and then they stopped, which I understand they're busy and everything, but I'll go around this week and make my list and turn it into waste management, but we need to do something about this. This is just a disgrace, and with Christmas coming, I know right after Christmas there'll be more sitting out there because people will get new furniture or swap this out. Swap this out and leave theirs sitting out there, but it's a disgrace that we have to drive down the streets and look at this. So is there any way that we could publish those pictures or put some notice with pictures like that with a circle and a slash through there and put it in the water bill that don't put your junk out in front? And I watched a guy trying to unload some one day, and I stopped and said something to him, and he backed up and left, and 2 days later it was sitting out there. He'd moved down one house. But
we certainly can do the water bill.
But I think we need to, for people to see it, I think we need to put the pictures up there on the thing instead of just putting a couple of little sentences in there. Do not put your garbage out in the horse trail right away. I think that'd be a good deal. All right, thank you.
Robin?
Just real quick to city staff and Lieutenant Briddick, thank you for taking care of the issue on Sunday with the vandalism in such a quick manner. It was very, very appreciated, and just a really good job. You guys were super fast on that, so thank you.
Thank you, and I'd just like to mention Deputy Robertson back there in the corner is the one that investigated that and brought it to a successful conclusion, so I want to make sure that he gets credit for that.
Did you catch him?
Good job.
You caught the two guys? Son of a gun. I guess wow, good job. Anything else, Robin?
No.
I have three things. One, there's some issues going on between planning and council in terms of the accessory buildings, and I know we're waiting for the meeting, but I'm wondering if we should have that meeting between the two of us sooner than later. There was a lot of confusion, and when I talked to the planning commissioners, they're expressing a lot of frustration. And I wonder if we should have that meeting maybe in January or something where our council and planning gets together. Any thoughts on that? So maybe if we could plan that, have staff where we can get together and talk about that. And then EDAC only has one person that's applied. I have to admit, when we took the council off, I really wasn't in favor of it, but I thought, well, I'll go along with it. And then the skill set is really, there's just sometimes you know how to get things done. And I think that we may want to revisit EDAC in terms of placing council people on there, because part of the reason people join is to have the interaction with the council people. And that was actually a very successful group in a lot of ways. And I'm just not, I just don't know if it's going to survive given the amount of people that are on it, because there's really, you had instantaneous interaction, but you also had a lot of projects that got sort of pushed through very quickly because they didn't have to like vote on it, then give it to Roger, then make a staff report, then go to Andy, and then come to council. What you had where you had two council people on there at all times, and some very, very good projects came out of it, so I think we might want to revisit that. And then, is there any way that we can add one more hour to the senior center hours? They have to leave like on Thursdays at 2 o'clock, and they like when they're doing their embroidery and doing all that kind of stuff, they say that just about the time they're into it and having a great time, they have to clean up and leave. And I'm wondering what it would cost to do maybe 2-3 times a week, to go to 3 o'clock or to go a little bit later.
I'll look into that and get you an answer.
Great. All right, thank you. And that's all I have. Anything from staff?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, we have a little bit of a good news to report. As you know, over the last 2.5 to 3 years, we've met staff and sometimes with council members. We've met with the City of Eastvale, the City of Corona, Riverside, WRCOG, our CTC, Western Municipal Water District, and the County of Riverside to try to drum up support to generate the local matching fund that is required for the Hamner Avenue Bridge replacement project. The latest update to the Transportation Improvement Program budget for WRCOG now includes $6.7 million that will serve as local matching fund for that project.
Whoa, congratulations. That's
really
big
good
news. Wow. Good job, Andy. Wow, that's huge.
That's it for me.
Chad?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to give an update on some CIP projects. Obviously, Hamner project, the repaving has been finished for a while. We did finally finish the final improvements for traffic calming measures on Temescal. So we do have the pedestrian lights that are now there and operating. We just installed today the feedback signs, dynamic feedback signs. They're currently in stealth mode, just collecting data, so you don't see them on, but we just like to get our background information and then we'll put them live next week. But those are all in and functioning, so hopefully they'll be a good addition to the elementary school on Temescal. Also, want to make you aware, if you're not aware, that again we have a tremendous amount of capital projects that are currently in design that will be going out in this next half a year for hopefully construction. If you're ever curious about the status of any of those projects, we do have a monthly update, a report on the website that is updated monthly by myself to give you every project that we currently have on our schedule to at least try to work on, what the status is, who is this assigned to, and what its current progress is. So we're trying to be more transparent and up to date to allow the council and the residents know what we're doing, where it is, and currently what they can expect, and that project to be completed, whether it's on a design aspect or construction side. But we show both those on there. So please use that as a resource if you're ever curious. Feel free to always call me if you have a question or anything, but it's all there for you guys to use and review at any time. And with that, that's my final comments. Thank you.
I have a question. I sent Andy a note, and I think you got it too. In front of Riverview, the crosswalk. Have we painted that? Have we done that? Is there some way we can do that? I put in a request for that a couple of months ago. It really isn't safe. Is there some way we can just do that?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. Part of getting the new striping contractor on board is we're looking at the primary areas we're looking for is fixing and getting redone is any crosswalks, but mainly all the stops and stop legends are all faded throughout the city. So that's one of the areas we're trying to key on to get done because we have minimum funds for striping. So we want to highlight those, and then whatever's left, we're going to work on and look at any type of streets where they're doing any center line work or whatnot. But yeah, anytime there's especially crosswalk areas, we can do that on our own because we have the legends for that.
Could you do that for me over at Riverview? Because the principal asked for it.
Sure. We can take a look at that.
And I always do what the principal says. Yeah. Any other comments yes, Ted?
Now that the election is over, and I don't know the protocol on this, but Andy, is there a way we can welcome or invite Ms. Cervantes or at least one of her staff members?
Working on that.
Yeah.
Just so that the audience knows that we're actually trying to
we will arrange that.
Extend an invitation.
Probably give them a chance to get.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. She doesn't yet have a staff, but Tyler's going to contact her. And
okay. I just want to make sure that she knows she's welcome here.
Anybody else? This meeting is adjourned.